Today, I want to have a conversation about come closer and make sure that your kids aren't in the room and can hear my voice. Are they gone now? Okay, because today I want to be talking about deep breath. Report cards. When I say the word report cards, I can sense that some of you, your blood pressure is rising, and if so, please put it in the comments below. For other people, it creates anxiety. For teachers, it creates an incredible amount of stress because there's a lot of work to be done in regards to getting a report card complete, from writing the report card, accessing the software, getting the formatting accurately, having the principal review the comments, and then okaying everything so that it can be printed and distributed to the students. This is what I really want to talk to you when it comes to report cards. When it comes to report cards, two things seem to happen. Either report card is good or either report card is bad. And the students have it that they either had a great report card or they had a bad report card. Report cards are neither good or bad. Report cards are a way of a teacher communicating to a caregiver where the student is at in their academic process, their social skills, their art skills, and all the other subject areas. A report card is a way that a teacher communicates to a caregiver about the progress of their child in various subject areas. Now, at the elementary school level, where I live, we do not have marks on the report card or letter grades. There's no percentages and there's no A, B, C, or D. At the high school level, they do get percentages and they do get A, B, C's, and D's. What is the impact of report cards on kids? This is where I need to let you know that for over 30 years, I have been working in the school system from all the way from kindergarten all the way to the university level. And I currently work as an elementary school counselor. And I'm going to share with you how I see that kids are impacted by report cards. So the most important thing is this, and I'm talking to you, the parents who get the report card, and the teachers who write the report cards. The most important thing is you, as a teacher, are communicating something to the parent. And the parent is receiving the communication in the form of a paper document. That's it. A report card is a bunch of words on a piece of paper, and it's called a report card. The issue that I'm pointing to is the significance that adults have when it comes to report cards. And I'm talking about school staff, and I'm talking to you, the caregivers, the parents, the people bringing up the kids. I'm going to give you 3 tips. Number 1, if you're anxious about the report card, chances are your child will also be anxious about the report card. When you're anxious, you trigger the child's anxiety, and then the child becomes anxious. The same is true if the child is anxious. It also triggers the parent's anxiety. So it's very important that you as an adult put the oxygen mask on yourself so you can support your child through the anxiety of getting a report card. However, one of you, and it's the adult, needs to step out of the dynamic of triggering each other's anxiety so you can be calm and cool and collected when the report card comes out. Remember, report cards aren't good and report cards aren't bad. It's people's opinions about them that have report cards be good and bad, when in fact the report card is really just a piece of paper. When you get a report card, it's important that you read it over. It's important that you ask for clarification. However, the report card does not define who your child is. If your child is struggling in math, it doesn't mean that your child is dumb. What the school staff are communicating to you, strengths that the student has in a certain subject area, and the stretches, like places where the student could improve. I get that there's a lot of parents out there and caregivers who have it that your kid needs to be perfect. I don't even know what that means. So if anyone actually has a definition of what a perfect child is, please put it in the chat below, because I hear this all the time, and I've never met a kid who wanted things to be perfect, who didn't also have an adult at home who wanted things to be perfect. So consider that when you want things to be perfect. Also training and you're developing your child to also want things to be perfect and see the world as perfect or not perfect. And that really doesn't work because honestly, the world is perfectly imperfect without any attachment to either one. Students are often very confused when they talk to me about whether they're good because they cleaned their room or whether they're bad because they didn't clean their room. Like, are they good or are they bad? Because it seems to be dependent on the things that they comply with that the adults ask them to do or do not comply with. The other thing I want to point out is that students are under a lot of stress. I mean, I've had very young students, kindergarten, grade 1, feel the pressure of their parents to do well in school. In kindergarten, you are finger painting. Nobody can fail finger painting. And yet there's this like push from the parents to do like the perfect finger paint or to memorize the alphabet before anyone else does or to be able to read before any other kid. This puts a lot of pressure on the kid. And what you're doing is often you're asking them to do things that are not developmentally appropriate for the age that they are. And then they feel pressure. And then they feel anxiety. And that pressure and anxiety is connected to school. And the last thing we want to see in schools are kids who are anxious, kids who are perfectionists, and kids who go into the world of upset like their caregivers do if things aren't done a certain way. So tip number 2 is don't have a fixed idea of how it needs to look or what words need to be in it or any of that stuff. Now, the last tip I want to share with you is it's really important for you to develop a positive relationship with teachers that your student has. Your students may like or dislike the teachers, like or dislike the subjects, and it's important to build up the resiliency. So regardless of which teacher they get, regardless of which subject area they're studying, they get to be powerful about it without being taken out by their circumstances. Sometimes students don't like their teacher, and that's the reason they give as to why they're not learning in school. Sometimes students say that their coaches are terrible, and that's where they're not learning how to swim. Kids will have all sorts of reasons as to why they can't do something. And for more ideas on how to support kids to be happy, free, and fully expressed, subscribe to my channel. As adults and caregivers, whether you're a teacher, a school staff, or a parent, it's our responsibility to build up the resiliency of kids so they can still identify actions that they can have, conversations that they can have, regardless of their circumstances. Maybe they don't like their English teacher. Well, go find an English teacher that you do like. Go have a conversation with them. Go create a study group with your friends and be able to study English together so you're not doing it in isolation. So there's lots of different things that kids can do in school. The third thing that I wanted to point out is it's really struggle when trying to understand the feedback on report cards. Again, they're collapsing good and bad and right and wrong into their report card. A good report card might be considered marks above 95%, which most kids won't get. It's not going to be attainable for all kids. That the expectations that we have of them are attainable, that we're not putting extra pressure on them, that extra pressure and the need to be perfect and better than the other kids, what that leads to is clinical anxiety, clinical depression, eating disorders, and self-harming behaviors like cutting. And this is not what I'm committed to when I talk to parents about how they can support their kids. Remember that kids, they can't just decide, well, things aren't working out at the house and you're really mean, so I'm going to pack up and leave. They're financially dependent on you. They're dependent on you for a roof over your head. They're dependent on you for food. Teachers hold a lot of power, but for both groups, whether you're a caregiver, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent, what I'd like to share with you is this. Kids want to be able to freely express their love to you, like really freely love you, with no barriers in the way between you and them, is for you to be able to freely love them with no strings attached. You want to be loved regardless of the comments, the opinions, the constructive feedback on their report cards. I'm even going to assert that perhaps love isn't the word. I find that love is a word that's often misused in the English language. So what I'm going to offer you out there is kids want to know that they're deeply cared for by the adults, like their caregivers and parents, and they want to know that they're deeply cared for by school staff. They want to be able to express that they deeply care for you, whether you are a parent, a caregiver, or school staff. Those are the two experiences kids want to have on this planet, is to love and to be loved. What's the number one thing about report cards that stresses out your kid? What's the number one thing that you as a teacher get stressed out about when it comes to report cards? And what are you hearing from your kids when they talk about report card time? Are they anxious about it? Are they calm about it? Are they excited about it? Getting present to what is the consequences of the kids getting the report cards, and what is it like over there for them? Parents are so caught up in the significance of what their report card is in regards to their parenting. Like, if the report card is good, they're a good parent. If the report card is bad, they're a bad parent. That's not what report cards are a reflection of. Cards are a reflection of the student's progress in a specific subject area. When you get the report card, take a deep breath, read the comments as comments from an educator to report on your child's progress. If you have any questions, talk to the teacher. And remember, don't collapse good and bad and right and wrong into your discussion of the report card with your child. And tell me, what kind of difference does that make when you don't see the report card as good or bad, and it's just really communication from an adult about your child's progress? Do you sense any freedom in that? Do you sense some less anxiety? Does your blood pressure lower? So consider that when we change our perspective of what a report card is, we change our experience of the report card and the report card process. So thank you so much, and subscribe and like below.